rainbow. Right now what she's doing is she's purring, as I like to call it. She's licking the top of her beak and grinding it with the bottom. It's kind of like that of a cat. When she's happy, she makes this noise. She doesn't do it much if it's too loud in here, so thank you for that, so you can actually hear her do it. The Eclectus parrots are from the Solomon Islands. Where we are is here in Livermore. Solomon Islands are right here. It's really close to Australia, and it's near the equator. So she loves the warmth of Livermore, but she definitely does not like the cold of Monterey, where I live. So she lives with my mom and dad right now, and I'm here visiting, so I figured I'd bring her in for you. She is the dominant of the species, which means she gets to be more colorful. So the females are red, and the males are green. Depending where on the 5 islands that you can find the Eclectus parrots, the males will either have red on the inside or a little red line on the outside on their feathers. What she does is she sits here nice and quiet sometimes, but if I were to leave, she would scream so loud that if you were breathing, you wouldn't be able to finish your breath until she was done. It just makes such a noise where if you're inhaling, you kind of go like this until once it's finished squawking. She also knows how to speak, but she doesn't if I'm in the room because she's satisfied. She thinks that I'm her best friend, and she won't say hello or whistle or ask for me unless I'm gone. One noise she does do is a sound which I believe is my name in parrot. It sounds a bit like... In the wild, they live way up top in the canopies of the trees, so they like to fly around and climb. She has all of her flight feathers, but she's afraid to fly because nobody taught her how, and I sure don't know how. So what she does is she'll climb, as I like to call, in triangles. She'll climb with her 2 feet and her beak. Her beak is quite sensitive, and she can feel many things through her beak and taste with the inside of her beak and tongue. She can hang upside down. She can make sure that she doesn't fall by having very dexterous hands. Her talons go quite long, so we have to trim her talons. However, she trims her beak for us. If it gets too long, she'll grab onto something, and then she'll yank back, and the tip of her beak will break off. So it's short enough to where she can preen herself without hurting herself, and still being able to grab with the bottom part of her beak. What you're seeing her do right now is the preening that I just said. What it does is it straightens out her feathers. Unless she's molting, then what happens is she'll have a pin feather with a casing come through her skin, and then she'll bite the casing off, and then it'll end up looking like the feathers. She was living with my grandparents before I picked her up in 2005. She was born in 2001, and my grandparents had 2 dogs. So every now and again, you'll see her kind of scratch her face, kind of like a dog. And she definitely knows how to yawn. It's quite funny to see her yawn because she'll open her beak really wide and she'll stick her tongue out. And her tongue has a little black little coloring to it, and then the whole rest is flesh colored. She looks quite fat, but in reality she's less than a pound. She looks quite big, but most of that is all feathering. Maybe 3/4 of that is feathering, whereas 1/4 is body mass. So if I were to grab her around her neck and stretch her up, she won't let me do it right now. She'll let me do it later. But what she does is she's sitting on herself right now, so she looks really short, but she can actually stretch her neck really far. And so that allows her to get down and play with the feathers down here, along with